Okay, welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and let's see if we can get away with this one. I have baby Zoe here with me, so you're gonna hear her. You might have already heard her plunking on my desk. And let's try and get a Pathfinder log done. This is one of my oddest videos because it's an account of the tabletop gaming that I do in Meat Space with my friends. So, let's get right into the news. We left off last time with our characters having destroyed a checkpoint, I suppose. They're in the area of, well, it's like a Mid-East setting, sort of an Ottoman Empire deal. They have been assigned to the area because there are tensions rising as a trade dispute with their Britannian Empire, from whom they've been dispatched, and the, well, let's call them local warlords, threatens to open out into open warfare. And David and Sam have not been particularly helpful in diffusing the situation. But at least they've made an impression. They wiped out a checkpoint. So that's where we left off last time, and there's a lot more to say about this one, so feel free to check out the other Pathfinder logs on down the line if you're interested in how we got to this point. So, Pathfinder log time. We introduced the character of Special Agent Ross, who is another homunculus. I'm telling you, watch the other Pathfinder logs. And he informs our characters that they have been less than subtle. He explains the situation, that maybe if they're trying to diffuse the situation, they shouldn't be going around, "Hi baby," blowing up border checkpoints in a way that clearly points back to Britannia. So, Special Agent Ross takes David's character aside to explain more fully to him what's going on. And by that I mean David wasn't playing with us that night, so his character gets sidetracked for a little while. And my little brother was playing with us, so that's awesome. I was really looking forward to it. He loves this kind of stuff, and he was interested in the setting. So we're basically set in sort of like a Full Metal Alchemist world, and you're playing the homunculi. So there we go. The setting. They're on an ongoing mission to rescue the trading post of Shariz Albaz, or at least the trading post at Shariz Albaz, which has been surrounded by unfriendly locals to the tune of around 3,000 irregular fighting men who have more or less besieged the outpost. We're getting in the area of 200 miles away from Shariz Albaz, getting into local warlord territory. And that is where we find Jeff's character now being introduced by Special Agent Ross, a helpful person who will be useful in the campaign that is to come. A campaign that is definitely far from subtle at this point, as David and Sam's characters have kind of caused a bit of a ruckus. So, if they're going to attack the enemy directly, why not just issue them with slightly less Britannian looking equipment and send them on their merry way. So that's what they did. Special Agent Ross gives them a map with targets of opportunity listed, fuel supplies, ammo depots. In fact, there's one particular place on the map, and excuse me for the crudeness, but this is Special Agent Ross, not me. He's based on a real person. And there's one place on the map that's marked fuel and ammo. Oh boy! And it shows a stickman with a large grin and a comically oversized cartoon erection. Okay, so that is the location that Jeff and Sam's characters are going to target for the next phase of their campaign, Operation Kaboom. Jeff's character is an alchemist, so he is proficient with creating all kinds of alchemical substances. He can make bombs, he can make poisons, all kinds of fun stuff. And he also focuses on firearms, which is entirely appropriate as this campaign is set in a world that has the equivalent of 1938 technology. Of course, adding on to that the sort of magical alchemy that takes place in the Full Metal Alchemist universe. Again, this is not set in the Full Metal Alchemist universe exactly, but it's based on it. More or less. So, where are we? Yes. Also, Jeff hadn't actually come up with a name for his character. So I just called him all kinds of ridiculous names that harken back to our young days. Oh man. Anyway, vegetable. They get their instructions, they move toward their next target, and their first day of setting up camp, they're traveling through the night and hiding their camp during the day. So they hide their camp, and on the first day, they get spotted by a patrol and enter into their first combat together. Jeff's character fights with an anti-tank rifle. In fact, a boy's anti-tank rifle. So if you're interested in AT rifles, the interwar period is a fantastic time to check out some really interesting designs. Everybody was experimenting with oversized anti-materiel rifles to take down tanks, as tanks had generally less than an inch of armor, so an armor-piercing high caliber round could actually go through them and deal significant damage. Anyway, I'm sure it does horrible things to a person in a world where toughness is not measured in hit points. But such is not this world, so it still does terrible things to a person. Yeah, are you starting to get hungry? Are you just all over daddy? We're talking about people getting their limbs exploded off by anti-tank rifles. Yeah, how do you feel about that? Hungry? You are a sick puppy. Okay, I might have to take a pause here. But let's try and carry on. So, random encounter. 4 enemy fighters notice their day camp, and 2 of them get quickly exploded. And I forgot to mention that, Whoa. I forgot to mention that Sam and Jeff's plan of attack was to weaponize camels. So they bought about 15 substandard camels via their agent Hakim, who I've already talked about in the previous Pathfinder log. Hakim goes into town, comes back with 15 ratty camels, and they rig the camels with explosives and plan to use them to stampede into the supply depot and blow up the fuel and ammunition supplies by detonating the camels. So, they have 15 weaponized camels. Suicide camels? No, because they're not dying of their own will. These are attack camels. And the 4 people who attack them also have a pair of camels. Jeff and Sam quickly take down the first 2, and then the other 2 enemies in this patrol didn't stand much of a chance. They were dealing with fairly overpowered characters, but it was a good warm-up for the 2 of them. And Jeff got a camel, a pretty hard-headed camel, as it had just stood there while people were exploding around it and being horribly maimed by Gorefiend, the demon goat. Again, there are other Pathfinder logs. All of this is explained somewhere else. And Larry the camel calmly joins the party as, I guess for now, Jeff's pet camel. What else? So, do 15 weaponized camels. Camel Larry. Oh, right, these camels are explosive incendiary camels, by the way. Dynamite and white phosphorus mixed together. Because why not? Jazbool Oasis is where they're headed to go blow up the ammo and fuel supply. So, as the plan goes, it worked out pretty well for them. Jeff stormed the gate. This baby's getting hungry. Leading his stampede of explosive camels, the guards quickly catching on to what's happening, but, you know, what do you do about a herd of stampeding camels? So Jeff immediately got alright. Okay, baby. Food time. Okay, I'd better wrap this up. So, the babies are getting hungry. I brought them some food. And let's get back to my notes. So, weaponized camels, Camel Larry attacking Jazbool Oasis. Jeff storms the gate, attracts the attention, excuse me, I can't talk today, of roughly 8 fighters, and these hostiles are about to open fire on him. Jeff gets the first move and takes down one of them with his hi baby. She's attacking some blueberries. She's very enthusiastic. And I hear the toddler stirring, so I gotta get this done. Yeah? Blueberry for daddy? No, you're not feeding me yet. The toddler comes over and shares food with me. It's super cute. Yeah, we love Sissy. Anyway, so Jeff takes down one of the guys with his anti-tank rifle. And that's the end of his turn. Sam holds off on his attack for the first round of combat, preparing to detonate the middle camel as they chain out, carrying on, stampeding into the fuel and ammo depot, we'll call it, the Oasis. The hostiles take their turn. 8 shots fired at Jeff's character. One of them hits for no damage. It tickles. Okay. Guns are strong in this world. Hi baby. A short sword deals a base 1d6 damage. That's a single 6-sided die. a excuse me. In this world, a rifle caliber firearm deals 2d6 base damage, so that's not a small amount of damage. It's just that homunculi are tougher than humans, and they can do things like resist a certain amount of physical damage. Also, their armor class is pretty ridiculous. Anyway, moving on. I'm being attacked! Let's see. So, I have in my notes here, a few bullets fly, and round 2 sees the rush of kamikazes reaching the heart of the depot, whereupon they are exploded in a daisy chain of dromedary meat bombs. I couldn't have said it better myself. Fighting happens. Sam's character, the Demon Goat, as he's starting to be known, but if you ask him, he's Gorefiend, the Lord of Gluttony and Sexiness. But I didn't ask him now, did I? Sam's character pulls off some fancy aerial maneuvers. And you say, Toshio, how is this goat performing aerial maneuvers? And I tell you that Sam's character is a sorcerer of the vampiric bloodline. So that's a Pathfinder thing, and I decided that since he's vampiric bloodline, he has access to vampire feats. And there's a vampire feat that allows you to fly. So Sam's goat flies. Welcome to game night with Toshio Thunder. So he's literally dive bombing enemy troops like a goat style Stuka, pulling up and hammerheading down on a dive on these enemies and trampling them with the overrun action. And tonight I didn't handle that properly. I just had him deal damage. What I should have been doing is have him roll an opposed combat maneuver check against these enemies, but he just overran them instead. That was my fault. I should have had them get basically a saving roll, and they didn't get the chance to defend against his trample, so he was just trampling whole lines of people, and I was like, this is a little bit powerful. So Sam's character was running people down. There was fire and smoke and death as the hostiles were shooting at them with bolt action rifles and dealing effectively no damage. I think Jeff's character took like 5 damage in the whole battle, as wave after wave of enemy fighters were pouring out of their burning tents into the melee, some of them rushing even into the fire and explosions happening over roughly half of this area. People were dropping like flies. Gorefiend was pummeling people with his hooves, his mighty hooves, and Jeff's character, who doesn't have a cool name yet, he tried to come up with something that night, and I was like, maybe your wife will come up with something good. His wife is really great. She's really cool. Anyway, let's see. Jeff shoots at people with the anti-tank rifle. People are appearing out of these tents in waves, in sort of a Call of Duty style. You take down one wave and more people appear, except more people were popping up than what they were taking down, and that was all part of my strategy of just getting a feel for how many level 2 fighters in terms of Pathfinder, it would take to cause a significant inconvenience to these two characters. And it turns out that the number is pretty much unlimited. So they were wiping out these guys, and they got to the point where combat was just trivial. So I say, okay, there was like a handful of people left. I said, okay, are you going to leave anybody alive? And they decided, yes, we'll leave a single witness to the events. So they take down everybody else. They took out like 30 level 2 fighters. And, yeah. More blueberries. Well, let's see what I can get for you. Are you hungry? You want some foods? You want some foods? There you go. Okay. Alright, I hear the toddler calling me Daddy. Alright. So, that was the night's action. They took down an entire outpost. They left one man alive, a witness to the jihadi exploding camels, to the demon goat, and the, for all intents and purposes, Terminator Man with his anti-tank rifle, just absolutely destroying everything. What else? Well, welcome to level 4. So their characters level up, and I've told them that every 4 levels they get a new mutation. So we'll see what they do with that. Let's see. Sam's character took on the feral mutation at first level. Jeff's character took on, what was his mutation? Celerity, which is basically a haste effect. That's a supernatural ability. You can be hasted for 1 round, and it's on a 1d4 round cooldown. So that's kind of neat. In any event, more to come. The next Pathfinder session is gonna be Sunday night, so that's coming up pretty soon, and it'll probably only take me another 5 or 6 days to make the log for that one. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. It was just a whole lot of combat for this last session, but our players did come up with some interesting ideas, weaponizing some camels, and Jeff's character found a new friend, Larry the Camel. I'm sure there's more to come in the next few days. Catch you guys next time, and obviously more War Thunder content coming up, as I'm completely excited about what I'm doing in the game right now. Bye-bye.